In the last 2 weeks, I've only missed just 5 days of my grind. But just a few weeks ago, I wasn't doing everything and I was missing every single day. In this video, I'm going to show you how to get out of a rut step by step. The very first thing I want you to do is to set the bar so low you feel stupid saying no. It turns out when you fall into a rut, or at least for me, I don't know about you, but from my own experience, when I fall into a rut, usually before this period of time where I just basically fall off from everything, stop being productive, stop being consistent, stop doing everything right, basically I just wake up and scroll all day, just stay in bed and like basically just waste away. Before this, usually in the past, there's like a period that was very focused, very consistent, very disciplined. And so let's use exercise for example. So let's just use push-ups. Very simple and straightforward. So let's assume before I entered this rut, or just sometime in the past, I was able to do 100 push-ups every day. Let's just assume, right? So I fall into this rut now. It's been 1 day, it's been 2 days, it's been 1 week, 2 weeks, 1 month, 2 months, whatever. And I'm finding it difficult to, exercise again. So the things that when I want to go back, or what a lot of people also used to do, but I notice it in myself especially, is I will now say, okay, I want to just continue from that 100 where I stopped. The problem with doing this is that when you are in this rut, or when you're just in this period where you're falling off, you're gotten lazy, you're not consistent again, you are basically leveled down. Let's assume when you were, like serious and consistent and doing everything, you were at like level 70, for example. When you get into this period that you're just lazy, you're just depressed, you're just burnt out, demotivated, you're just wasting away doing nothing productive. Like you're leveling down, your levels have gone down. So when you're in this state, you're like maybe level 20 now. So you literally went from level 70 to level 20, like you dropped down. So the problem with a lot of us is at level 20 you cannot do 100 push-ups. Like 100 push-ups you cannot do it, but at level 70, 100 push-ups is like it's normal. But level 20 you just can't do 100, like it's impossible. So the problem is a lot of us, or at least what I used to do, but a lot of people, they will still have this same mindset that they want to just continue from here. And that's the thing, they keep trying, they can just fall back down and just fall back down and just keep falling back down. Like they don't go up, they don't rise. And that is because they set the bar too high. It seems like you want to set the bar so low, you feel stupid saying no. So instead of saying you even do 100, tell yourself you do 5 push-ups. And it will feel like an insult to your ego, because you feel like, oh, I used to do 100 push-ups before, 5 feels like nothing, which is true. But the thing is that at this level you are in, 5 is all you can do. And trust me, like I noticed that this actually works. These things I'm telling you here is not just some random, just like this actually works. These are things that works for me. These are things that brought me out of my ruts. You want to set the bar so low, you feel stupid saying no. So can you do 5 push-ups every day? Yes, obviously you can do 5, but 100 every day, high chance no. But it seems that you're not just going to do 5 forever. You do 5 maybe the first day or the first week, then the next week you level it up to 10, then 20. Like eventually when you level it up, you will now eventually climb back to this place where you once were. But from when you are in that period that you have been slacking, you have been falling off, you have been lazy, you don't want to do too much too fast. You want to do too much at once. You want to basically treat yourself like a beginner. Like you want to drop the bar so low that it's just so easy for you to get started. And another thing as well relating to this is you don't want to do many areas of your life. Personally, I will recommend 3 max. If possible, if you can even just do 1, that's like 10 times better. But usually your life is not one dimensional. Like you don't just do workouts, or you don't just do like school, or you don't just do like business or side hustles. Like usually you have multiple domains in your life, so you might need to do more than 1, but it shouldn't be more than 3. The 3 I personally chose was school, fitness, and YouTube. Those are the 3 things I chose to start working on, to start doing consistently. So you just want to choose 3. It could be spirituality, hygiene, and socializing. Just 3 stuff like that. You don't want to do 4, you don't want to do 5, you don't want to do 6, you don't want to do, because when you're doing all these things, it goes back to the same problem. Maybe when you were in your prime, when you were you were good, you were high up here, you could do all that. But at this stage, you want to do just 3. The fewer the better. So be specific about what you want to do. That's one another thing again that also makes a lot of people stay in this role. It's like they're just like, I want to get back on the grind. What does getting back on the grind really mean? You want to be extremely specific, and like I said, I just recommend choosing maximum 3 domains. So if you like getting back on the grind, I mean, okay, I want to start, taking my business work seriously. I want to start taking my school career seriously. I want to start finding a job. I want to take my finances seriously. I want to take my fitness seriously. I want to take a relationship with God seriously, whatever it is. Specify it and set the bar so low when you do that thing that it's very easy to just get started. The very next thing you want to do is to create a timetable. When you wake up, for a lot of people, especially when you don't really have anything doing. So usually, if maybe you're going to school like every day, or you have a job you go to every day, there's already some form of basic routine. So school or work starts by 8 and it closes by 5. So you wake up by maybe 6, get ready 7, 8 o'clock, let's say 7:30, 7:40, you leave the house, 8 o'clock you're in work or in school. Then you stay there, come back by 5, undress, unwind till around 7, then just maybe watch movies or eat or whatever till like 9, 10 p.m. you go and sleep and wake up the next day and repeat. But for some people that don't go to school like maybe every single day, or don't have a job that requires them to go every single day, or even just on the weekends, your schedule is basically open. And even when you do come back from your job or your school or whatever, like those few hours you have are just open. And the problem with it just being open is that you are almost always going to default into doing like the bullshit habits. You are almost always going to default into doing the part of least resistance. Like, it's very rare you will come back from school, for example, and be like, there was no planning, no thoughts about it, and just be like, you know what, I want to go on a run, for example. Like, rarely ever happens. But you will pretty much always come back from school and go and play, the PlayStation. You pretty much always come back from school and go and scroll on your phone. You pretty much always come back from school and go and watch a movie. You pretty much always come back from school and go and buy like some junk food to eat or whatever. Pretty much always come back from school and message, check your music. Like, you're always going to default to that because it's a lot easier, because there's no intention, there's no plan. It's just like free period, basically in school, those days in school. So there was a timetable and stuff, but maybe some periods, like some classes, the teacher wouldn't come for whatever reason. So it's free period. The thing is free period, always, like everybody in class is always just making noise and being rowdy. They are not doing anything productive. Same thing with real life. If you don't have any schedule, if you don't have any plan, if you don't have any structure, you're always going to default into doing nonsense. You're always going to default into the bad habits. You're always going to default into the lazy things. So you want to have a schedule. So personally, I like to create my own schedules like this. As you can see, I write out like all the hours of the day. See this here, and I just like attach, like the little thing I want to do next to it. It seems that you don't have to like write it out physically. You can use your phone and all that. But personally, my phone is like very bad, so I just like to write it out simply. Like, paper is more convenient for me. But basically, as you can see in this my schedule here, like each hour, each period of the day, there's like a task assigned to it. And another thing, also another mindset you want to have is like, you might not be able to follow it 100%, but no matter the percentage, even 20-30% of just following this schedule is 10,000 times more productive than any day you don't follow the schedule. Like, for example, let's assume this, my little schedule now. I just follow it till like, let's say, let's say this one. Let's say I just follow it till, let's say, let's just say 8 or 7. Just doing all this, just these 3 activities here, is already 10 times more productive than what I'll do on the average day. Because like the average day, I'm not going to do anything. Like, I'll just do whatever. So always follow the schedule. Very good for you. And the other thing also is to have the intention of following it, because if you just create this schedule and at the back of your mind you're like, yeah, I won't bother to do it. Like, it's almost like, what's not the point? So as you do the schedule every single day, you check it, or as often as you can throughout the day, you look at the schedule and be like, okay, I'm supposed to do this, I'm actually going to do it. The next thing that is going to get you out of your ruts is going to be your environment. So when I was deep in these ruts, I was in my parents' house. So I was just there, and every single day I'm just wasting away, basically. Like, while I'm doing like the main chores I was supposed to do, like maybe I'm supposed to buy this or sweep this or arrange this or go and get this, just general stuff like that. I was just like, I just did nothing productive every single day. And it's just because in my parents' house, like, the environment is just almost like tailored to a place to rest, if that makes sense. The environment feels like a chill environment. When I'm at home, it is very, very, very difficult to just be productive, because when I'm at home, either, yeah, in my apartment here or my parents' house, like, difficult to be productive, because being home just feels like rest. Like, being home feels like, just walking around, eating some food, watching some videos, just doing stuff like that. It's very, very rare that I will spend the whole day at home and just, be super productive. Like, of course, sometimes it does happen, and I think that's a skill, I should work more on the habits and all that. But for the most part, it's difficult, because this is home. Like, the environment basically signifies like rest in my own opinion. So what I now started to do to become more productive is I will just leave the house. I will literally leave the house, go to the library, and go and spend the whole day there physically. And just doing that literally double the productive, because in the library everybody is reading. In the library everybody is opening books. In the library everybody is like doing something productive, or at least they're supposed to. And it seems that just being in this environment by default just make me more productive. So good example I'll give you is I wanted to start journaling consistently. I don't know, is this my journal? Okay, it's not journal. So I wanted to start journaling consistently again, because I had fallen off for many months, for like maybe 3, 4, 5, 6 months. I didn't really journal or anything. So I was like, it's been a while, I want to journal again. But I just couldn't. It just felt impossible. Started going to this library, and automatically I started journaling every day. Every day I went to the library, I would journal. Any day I don't go to the library, I'll not journal. So it was one of those things that made me realize that wow, environment is stupid important. Because when I'm in the library, it's easy. It almost even becomes hard to not journal. Because that environment just feels like you are supposed to journal, while this environment feels like you are not supposed to journal. This environment feels like you're supposed to rest, you're supposed to scroll, you're supposed to enjoy yourself, if that makes sense. But that environment feels like you're supposed to, journal, you're supposed to read, you're supposed to write, you're supposed to be productive, you're supposed to work, you're supposed to do whatever. So environment is very important. Like, that's one big hack that I noticed, like, wow, this is crazy. This has crazy impact on you. Change up your environment. Obviously, if you have, like, maybe if you cannot really leave your house, or you're in a like confined location or something like that, it might not be very easy. But even if you're going to be in your house, you just want to arrange your house in a certain way that, okay, maybe when it's time to work, you use a different room, or you arrange your room in a certain way that when it's time to work, one particular corner of your room is where you work. You don't want to use the exact same place where you like sleep or chill or just scroll all day and all that. You don't want to turn that exact same spot. Maybe it's on your bed. You don't want to turn your bed to also your workstation. Instead, maybe you want to have your desk at the corner of the room. Then that's where you're gonna work or something. Or more preferably, just leave the house, go somewhere like a library, a cafe, whatever. Your productivity will 10,000x, bro. To 10,000x. So the next point now ties into the environment zone. It's quite similar, but a little different. And this last point is routine. So a routine is basically just like a collection of habits. It's like a habit, a big habit, but when you look into the habit, there are like mini habits inside. So for there's like a morning routine, there's an afternoon routine, there's a night routine. So this is basically the schedule stuff. Once you do it, it starts to become a routine, and especially when you combine it with the environment, it's like some certain habits will become part of this routine, if that makes sense. It's almost like you can tell the day you are going to be productive and the day you are not going to be productive. Like, you can tell basically from when you, let's say, the way you spend the first hour of your day, or doing the first 10 minutes of your, let's just say the first hour of your day, 9 out of 10 times that's how the rest of the day is going to go. 9 out of 10 times that's how the rest of the day is going to go. So for example, if you wake up and the first hour of the day, you start to read books, you start to read, you start to write, you start to be productive, 9 out of 10 times the rest of the day is going to be like that. And vice versa, if you start the day, the first hour of the day, you spend it scrolling and just doing random stuff, 9 out of 10 times the rest of the day is going to be like that. Usually when you fall into a rut, you enter this, like, will I say, playlist. Yeah, that's the best way I'll explain it. This playlist of habits. So on YouTube right now, I don't know, you probably would have seen it, but if you are playing music, there's this thing the YouTube algorithm likes to do. It likes to do like mix. So all the songs you like to listen to, it's to kind of like bundle them together, if that makes sense. Like, it will just create like an an automatic playlist for you. So all the songs you know like and listen to frequently, puts them inside, and they're all usually going to be similar. Then depending on the type of song. So for example, if it's a rap song, like I like listening to like NF and all that. So when I'm listening to like an NF song, it's automatically create this playlist for me. And when you look at this NF song, almost all the other songs inside, 9 out of 10 of them are going to be like NF song type related. They're going to be NF songs or a song similar, like that type of song. And if I now play like let's say some happy, I don't know, gospel music for example, the playlist is now going to create for that gospel music all the songs that are going to also be gospel related. It seems that like you cannot find a gospel song in the rap playlist. That makes sense. I cannot find a rap song in the gospel playlist. So I know I'm talking about playlists and stuff, but to make it make sense, you cannot put like a good habit does not go into the day that you like into the schedule of bad habits. Like if you start your day and you start scrolling and the first when you open your eye, you start looking at notifications, you go to Twitter, you go to Instagram, like that is like the routine for bad habits. So you cannot start the day like this. You cannot be doing all these habits and randomly you just go and work out, or randomly you just read a book, or randomly you just be social or something like that. It's like every other habit that follows is going to be bad, like it's going to be shitty habits. While vice versa, if you start a good habit, every other habit that follows is going to be good as well. It's going to be like top class, high tier habits, and that is extremely true. So it's part of the reason why I said the schedule is extremely important, because when you have the schedule, like usually the idea is that you start it with the intention of the good habit, so it becomes like it follows. But basically, you want to just get into a routine, and the things that, at least for me, I notice that the days I'm not productive, it's like they almost look the same. Is wake up fairly late because you slept late the night before. So you wake up quite late, feeling tired as fuck, manage to get up, go and take a piss or something, come back, open any of these social media apps, start scrolling. That is always how it used to start. Spend the first 1 or 2 hours in bed, up to 3 hours sometimes, just scrolling, watching random shit, whatever. Finally get up, go and look for food. And usually it's not even like good food, healthy food, just some junk, garbage food. Eat that food, spend the rest of the day scrolling and just lazing around. When evening comes, eat more food again. A lot of times before you're gonna sleep, scroll some more, jerk off. Like it always goes like that, and vice versa. The good days always look the same as well. Wake up fairly early, maybe not the earliest, but at a reasonable time. Sometimes wake up early, like pretty early times, but at least wake up at a reasonable time. Starts with like some real major tasks I've always wanted to do. So maybe, okay, I've always wanted to write this thing, I've always wanted to clean the room, I've always wanted to record this video, I've always wanted to do this exercise. Starts with that. Then after that, do another one. So maybe after I exercise, I'll now go and like sweep the house. Then after that, I will go outside and wash my clothes. Then like it always just goes like that. So the point I'm trying to make is like, you want to just create a good routine basically, and you always want to try your best to not fall into the routine of bad habits, because it's when you fall into this routine of bad habits, like it feels very impossible to stop, if that makes sense. Once that trend starts moving, once you get into this playlist and the bad habits just start playing one after another, it's very, very, very difficult to bring one good habit inside. It's like it's just keep playing basically till that day ends. It's not impossible, but like I said, but it's usually very, very difficult. And vice versa, once the good habit starts playing, it's very difficult to just bring a bad habit inside. Not impossible, but it becomes a lot harder. So basically, you want to try your best to make the good habits playlist like a lot more frequent. I want to fall into this routine a lot more frequent. The very, very, very last way to get out of a rut is to just realize that you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be perfect. Just like I showed you at the beginning of this video, if you look at my routine, let me try and pull it up here. You can see that some of these days I still miss some days I'm not perfect. The idea is that you just have to show up and rise again, basically. Because like you are human, that's one, and two, also you have been in this rut, so you're basically be wasting time. But you want to just realize that any progress at all, any showing up at all, no matter how small it is, that's why I said it about Solo. Like he's like 100 times better than the last 24 hours, 100 times better than the last 7 days, 100 times better than the last 30 days, because the last 30 days basically you did nothing. But now, even if it's just 5 minutes, even if it's just 2 minutes of productive work, that's like 10,000 times better than the last 30 days. Like that is very good. So it's like some days you might slip up, some days you might fuck up, some days you might do the wrong thing, some days you fall into this bad habits playlist basically, and like you get it wrong, you do it the wrong way. You just want to always show up and rise again. You just want to always come back. You just want to always bounce back. Like if today you woke up and you started scrolling and you jerked off and you spent 10 hours on your phone and all that, tomorrow you just want to basically come, write the schedule, try to stick to it, or try to follow it to the best of your ability. And the next day you try to do the same thing, the next day try to do the same thing. Maybe the next day again, you jerk off or whatever. You just always want to come back and try again, because at the end of the day, success will only come to you if the days you do the right things are more than the days that you do the wrong one. Because if you think about a lot of us that are not successful right now, it's like the reason why is because the days you have been doing the wrong things, the days you have been doing things that will not help you basically, are a lot more than the days you have been doing things that are going to help you. So you just want to make this one significantly more. It doesn't mean you have to be 100, it does not have to be 100 to 0. It could be even 90 to 10, but you just want to make sure this one is always higher. If it won't be 60 to 40, 70 to 30, but you want to make sure this one is always higher, because if it's when this one is higher that you make no progress, but if this one is higher, you are going to make progress. So it doesn't matter how bad you fall, doesn't matter how long you have been in your ruts, doesn't matter how deep in the rabbit hole you have gone, you just always want to rise up and try again.